Hey, so this is our weekly live accent coaching session. So this is where I help some people from the live audience who are here live on YouTube with me, invite some people up and do some free live accent coaching. So it's specifically for Brazilians who already speak English well and want an American accent or closer to it. So generally an accent more or less like mine, arguably a so-called general American accent, is the target that I help my clients with and that my content is based around. Not because that's inherently better. You can have any accent you want. You can do accent training. You can not do accent training. This is very much, a personal decision. But I generally assume that the people I'm helping that follow me and stuff have that goal, just to keep things focused and instead of trying to help everyone with everything, I'm usually coaching towards that specific accent. So if that sounds interesting to you and you'd like to get some help to move in that direction, go ahead and comment here on the in the chat on YouTube. Let me see here. Just let me know. Let me get the Zoom going as well, and I can send you a link to join me on Zoom, and I'll invite you up. And you don't have to share your video. I generally keep the video. I don't share your video to the YouTube Live typically. So they'll be able to hear your audio as we go back and forth, but I'll generally just show my video and whatever I'm showing on the screen. So it can be a little bit more private, but it is still obviously kind of a public thing. Okay, let me get the Zoom going here as well. And I can, till we have some more people showing up and ready to join, I can talk about some accent stuff I've seen with my clients and some general topics and things while we're waiting for more people to show up here. But yeah, let me know in the chat. If you guys have any questions as well, you can just leave questions in the chat, even if you don't want to join live, and I can answer questions about specific words, sounds, phrases, how to train accent. So it could be about the what or the how or anything that's on your mind as it relates to accent and pronunciation stuff. Awesome, we got a comment here. So it says, eu tenho dificuldade para encaixar THR, tipo 3 thread. So yeah, that's a common issue. I had a client whose name was Arthur, and he couldn't say his own name consistently, easily. And so he'd sometimes tell people he was John when he was going to Starbucks or ordering a pizza because he had a hard time saying his name in English with the R-TH combo. And the tip I gave to him is the same tip that I'll share with you, which is isolate that as a core skill and practice it obsessively. So first of all, make sure you can do TH by itself. Maybe into some sort of vowel sound. Th, 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 without it stopping and turning into kind of a T sound. Th, th, th. That would probably be a sign you're kind of putting too much pressure between your tongue and your upper teeth or the bump in the gums behind your teeth. But think of it as kind of too much pressure if you're kind of stopping the sound and starting the sound. Th, th. Instead, we want to hear th, th. So very lightly touching, very light pressure, lightly touching your tongue to your upper teeth and blowing, and then smoothly, without stopping, smoothly transitioning into a vowel, and then repeating that process without stopping, including when you go from the vowel back to the TH. So th, 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 something like that. And now if we switch the vowel to instead be an R sound, same idea. Thir, 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 thir. So that right there is the drill that my client did obsessively. And he said I think it took him hours in his case of obsessively drilling it. He was very perfectionistic, but it solved the problem for him. And then he, told me I'm not John anymore. I'm Arthur. And he was very happy about that. And it made a difference for him. And so have patience with yourself. I don't know how quick or slow it will be, but this is a skill that you can train and you can get better at it. And I would suggest that a effective and more efficient way of training it is to, instead of just hoping it fixes itself or doing a bunch of kind of random stuff mixed together, try to isolate the skill so that you're focused on it and then train it deliberately. So by isolate, I mean get rid of all the other sounds and just zoom in on the the exact sounds you need to train. Thir, 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 thir. And then we can start putting it into any words you need. Earth, earth, arth, Arthur, and so on. Author, Arthur, arthropod. Let me know if that tip helps. Me diz aí se ajudou. Eu sei, você perguntou em português e eu respondi em inglês. Então, espero que você tenha entendido. Se alguma coisa não ficou claro. Clara. Me fala aí. Me fala se ajudou. Se foi confuso. Coloca a interação aqui nos comentários. É uma coisa boa aqui. Tô aqui para ajudar realmente. Let's see, we got Ana Carolina here saying, good evening, guys. I'd like to know if there's really a difference between man and men. Yes. And there's kind of levels, like the beginner level, advanced level, to how we can look at the difference there. So I'll teach that in about 10 seconds from now. But I, again, want to mention, if anyone here who is live on Zoom wants to join for some live coaching, let me know. And I'll share the link to Zoom, and you can join me, and we can have your audio be part of this YouTube Live. And then I and the audience can listen to you, and I can do some live coaching and help you more directly that way. But yeah, so man versus men. It is not as simple as a versus e, even though you see the letter A in man. Let me actually share my screen here, because I think that will make things a little bit more clear. So give me just 1 second. Make sure I'm not going to share anything private. Okay. Cool. So you should be able to see me in the corner down here. I can move the Zoom window thing off the screen. Okay. And then you can see the notepad here. So man versus men. So typically what you might think of is trap versus dress, which is, you may not know what that is, but that'd be like, you'd think of the word like bad and then the word like bed. But man is a special case. So when you have A plus M or N or NG, it's different. So we'll start with M plus MN, is you kind of get almost like e fechado do português, and then a schwa vowel sound, which I'll say what that is if you don't know, and then the M or the N sound. Whereas in men, it's more like e aberto and no schwa, and just directly to the MN. So see if you can hear the difference. Man versus men. So the beginning of it is different. So me versus me. And this can vary depending on the specific accent, but I'm teaching you how I say it. And I think that's a good place to start. And then again, there's kind of like levels to this. So I'd suggest start here, but then you can fine tune it, you know, as you're kind of getting more advanced with it. So do kind of e versus e. That's the beginning difference. And then you add in this schwa sound just for man. So yeah, let me make this a little more obvious. This is man. And this is men. Hopefully that makes sense. So A versus E. Now the schwa is like if I just totally relax my tongue basically, and I let a sound come out, at least for me as an American, the sound that tends to come out if I think of just relaxing my tongue is something like, and by relax my tongue, I mean that my tongue isn't going up or down or front or back. It's just kind of blah, just kind of hanging out. I'm not really like using my muscles to move my tongue in any specific direction. I'm just kind of doing nothing. And then I make the sound and it's, so that's this idea of a schwa sound. It's kind of a weird name. You don't have to necessarily remember that name, but just think of it as kind of this relaxed vowel sound. And then so what you want to do is connect the kind of e fechado sound, this e somewhere in there, to the schwa. So so there's really two vowel sounds connected together smoothly. And then we do, for the case of man, it's an N, so we do a tongue tip N, where the tip of your tongue touches the roof of your mouth. Na na na, and then you put the M at the beginning, because it's man. If we don't do the M, it would be the word an, but we add the M and we get man, me, man. And if you want to say ma'am, like madam, but ma'am, like yes ma'am, then instead of an N, you do an M, but the rest of the word is the same. So it's just whether it ends with an M or an N. So man or ma'am. And then for men, there's no schwa. At least that's how I would recommend thinking of it. And instead of a closed E, it's an open E. So you just do a kind of a eh sound. And then you go directly to the N. Tongue tip N again. N, men. Does that make sense? Hopefully that helps. In the comments, I see Ana Carolina said, great explanation. Thank you very much. Awesome. Glad it makes sense. And happy to help. Let me know in the comments if that made sense. You know, not just you, Ana, but anyone else here, if that made sense. If there's anything that wasn't clear, anything else you want to ask. And then we got some other people showing up. Awesome. Good to see you guys here in the comments. Gabe says, hey. Hey, how's it going? Mr. Coelho English says Potter, flap T versus porter, and otter, flap T versus order. Okay, so let me kind of move this stuff off the screen and we'll go to this next topic. So Potter, I'll just copy paste your comment. I think I can do that. See if this lets me do that. Okay. Cool. So basically the difference is just about this R. A lot of Brazilians drop this R, they delete it by accident. And so that's probably your issue here is you don't have control or awareness of whether you're doing this R or not. Because that's really the difference. Another common thing, which is in the same category, is potty, like kind of the word that we use with kids, children, for going to the bathroom, or with dogs, need to go potty, versus, and I guess we could use your same way of writing this, versus party. And again, it's just about the R. So I'll start showing it with this one. So you could think of it as P. I'm going to use sort of the code of how I write this, which may not make sense at first. We could write this in different ways. Like instead of lot, I could write it as sort of a, like to use a Portuguese sound. Yeah, we'll do that actually. You know what? Yeah, we'll start with that. It'll be kind of a mix of things, but hopefully it'll make sense. So a P and then kind of an open O sound and then a flap T, like the R in para. So that, and then basically a E sound from Portuguese. So I'm kind of inconsistent whether I use letters and sounds from Portuguese or English, but we'll do it in our own imperfect way. And as long as you understand what I'm trying to show you, amazing. So hopefully this will make sense. So that's the first one, but then we can compare it to, we just add the R. And this is like an American R, or a Hikapira, or whatever you want to call it. Like bor, the that kind of sound. And that's the key thing that you're probably missing, is that kind of a Hikapira. So we can focus on that more if needed. And we could actually put this underneath just to kind of make the difference a little more clear. And we'll do it like this. Potty. Party. And then the process, by the way, is going to be the same for the ones you actually asked about. So pa starts the same for both of these. Even though we write it differently, you can think of it as starting with the same sound. The question is just, before we get to the flap T, and it ends the same way, by the way, right? Flap T plus E, so this kind of ri at the end. And so party versus party. I'm just inserting that sound. And notice that I'm not doing I'm doing I'm not doing an R like pohta. I'm not saying pah, party. I'm doing party, party. So see if you can hear the difference. Party, party, potty, party, potty, party. If you can hear the difference, then you're on the path to being able to say it, because you'll be able to notice if you're saying it in the first way or the second way. If you struggle to hear the difference, you may have a harder time knowing if you're doing it right, or knowing which way you're doing it. So hearing it is an important step. So let me know in the comments if this is making sense, because then it's the same idea for Potter versus porter. Technically, maybe we adjust the vowel sound slightly. Instead of ah, we might get a o, ah versus o, Potter, pour. But it's the same basic idea. Potty, party. So in potty versus party, we kind of keep the same vowel sound. For Potter versus porter, you could think of it as a open O versus a closed O, roughly. And this isn't perfect. If you compare it to your sounds in Portuguese, it may not be exactly the same, but I'm trying to show you roughly. Flap T plus so something like that. Pa oh sorry, potter, potter. It's kind of weird because flap T is kind of like the R in para in Portuguese. So in a way, this is also kind of an R, but it's a different R, right? So para versus porta, caipira, if that makes sense. So you're kind of putting two R's next to each other, but they're different types of R's. Or an American R and a Brazilian R, or however you want to think about it. Like you could say this is a Brazilian R and this is an American R. But yeah, it takes practice. Quarter, order, porter, party. It's tricky, but again, kind of like TH plus R, you can isolate it and practice it in a kind of infinite loop. So just like we can go thir, 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 thir. You can also go der, 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 der. And that's the core skill. Once you can do that, this kind of where you're kind of holding this R sound, and then as you're holding the R sound, you kind of flap the tip of your tongue, der, 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 kind of tapping it against that front of the roof of your mouth, a little bit behind your upper teeth. Kind of the same spot you do like a n, and n sound potentially, or a T or a D, t, duh. It's all in that kind of bump in the gums here. But yeah, go der, 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 der. And depending on how you do your R sound, that could be easier or harder. There's different ways to do an R sound, not necessarily right or wrong. Because some people do an R where the tip of your tongue is free to move around, and that makes it a little easier to do this flap. Other people do an R where you're kind of using the tip of your tongue for the R, and then it's your tip of your tongue kind of has to do more work. At least that's my current understanding of this. It's still possible though. But yeah, I would isolate that as the skill to practice, and then insert it back into these contexts, into these words, and then put the words in phrases. And it's just like practicing guitar or cooking or anything. It's a big skill made up of many tiny skills. So decompose it, break the problem into pieces, break the skill into sub-skills, into tiny skills, and then practice each tiny skill, get good at those tiny skills, and then start stacking them together until you can do the bigger skills. And don't be afraid to take baby steps. It might feel like it's almost like this frustratingly tiny step or this thing that you should know by now or whatever, but like it's actually pretty hard to talk. If you think about how long it takes babies to learn how to talk and how much we celebrate when they say anything, even when it's just mama and they can't say anything else, we're so happy, or dada, right? And so have some patience, give yourself grace. You're kind of relearning how to talk in a way when you're training accent and pronunciation. And we're so used to talking that it feels natural at this point in our lives generally, but you're kind of going back to rewire something. And so have patience and see it as a challenge, as a puzzle, not as some like deficiency Instead, look at it as something not to run away from, but something to run towards, to dive into, and it can be a satisfying challenge if you look at it that way, a game that you're mastering and leveling up, like in a video game or something. All right, hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if that was helpful. And then let me come back to the comments here and see what else we got going on. And again, another kind of call to action here, which is free, by the way, not even like, so if anyone wants some free accent help, accent coaching, let me know here in the YouTube chat, and I'll drop the Zoom link, and you can join me here on Zoom. You don't have to show your face, but we'll hear your audio on the live, and then I can give you some live coaching based on how you actually sound, your actual speech. And then hopefully that can help you. Awesome. And again, this is intended for Brazilians who already speak English well and want an American accent. So that's my assumption of who I will generally be helping. If that's you, let me know. I'm going to drop the Zoom link and you can hop in here. I'm supportive of everyone, but that is who I focus on. Okay, let me grab that Zoom link. I'll drop it in the chat. And then I'll try to answer a little bit more of the comments here as well. I want to keep this interactive. All right, let me figure out where the Zoom link went. Sometimes it's kind of annoying to try to find when I'm doing all this sharing of many things at once. Okay, I got the link. I'm going to drop that into the YouTube chat. There should be a waiting room enabled in the Zoom. So that way, when you join, I'll see that you sort of requested to join the Zoom, and I can admit you when I'm ready to have you up. So go ahead and join, and you should be in that waiting room. And I will, let me set it up so I can see the participants, pop out participants window. Okay, cool. So now when you join, I should be able to see that you're waiting. So anyone who wants to join in the YouTube chat, if you're Brazilian, already speak English well, and you want an American accent, go ahead and click that link to hop in the Zoom waiting room. I can give you some free coaching here in a minute. All right, while we're waiting there, let me go back to the comments. Awesome. I see we got Gabriel in the waiting room. Heads up, Gabriel, I'm going to answer another question or two from the chat first, just to make sure I'm keeping this a little bit interactive, but you are the next person up. So if you can wait just a couple minutes, thank you for being patient. I'll have you up in just a second. Okay, so Kite in the Breeze said, Olá, teve professor brasileiro, não lembro quem, que falou sobre comfortable. Disse que até nativos erram a pronúncia. Qual é certo, por favor? Depende da definição de erro, porque tem muita variação. Tipo ask e ax e data. Depende da definição de erro. Realmente. Às vezes não necessariamente seja algo tão rígida essa definição de só tem uma forma certa, que é a forma meio que educada, que aparece nos dicionários. Às vezes também pode ser adequada. Outras formas de falar, que no dia a dia muitas pessoas usam na prática. Então depende das suas metas e da sua definição de não só certo, mas adequado para as situações que você quer participar da vida real. Então, comfortable, em muitos casos vai ser tipo comfortable. Vou meio que deletar alguns sons, trocar o lugar de alguns sons. E você pode procurar no youglish.com. Vou mostrar isso rapidinho aqui. Se você nunca ouviu falar, um site muito bom para procurar coisa de pronúncia. Clicar em US para sotaque americano.
Of life, and it's not a genuine or comfortable. Por exemplo, ela falou um som de R ou não? Será que ela deletou, comeu o R? Será que ela trocou a posição do R? Não tenho certeza. É um pouco flexível. Vamos reduzir a velocidade rapidinho aqui. Deixa eu ver se... Às vezes tem uns atalhos no teclado que eu posso usar, mas às vezes recentemente parece que parou de funcionar, não sei porquê. Então vou fazer manualmente, clicando aqui. E voltar.
Fact of life and
Paciência.
it's not a genuine
Muito devagar.
or
Aqui vem. Agora vai.
or comfortable.
Comfortable. Acho que ela falou um mini R não vozeado. Tipo, ao invés de acho que ela não usou a voz, só soprou. Tipo, ao invés de por causa do F, ele acaba meio que tirando a voz do ar. Do ar, não. Do R. Falei em inglês. Ao invés de ficou tipo comfort, e depois table, comfortable. Aí quase dá pra dizer que não falou o R, dependendo da análise. Será que, na visão daquele professor que você falou aqui nos comentários, que essa pronúncia seria uma pronúncia errada? Aí depende da definição de cada um. Na minha perspectiva, eu tenho uma perspectiva bastante flexível, aberta enquanto isso de certo, errado. Pra mim, tá ótimo o jeito que ela falou. É bem comum. Independente de ser supostamente errado ou certo, é super comum esse tipo de pronúncia. E pra mim, eu quero falar que nem gente, igual, sabe, o povo, as pessoas. Às vezes eu quero falar mais do lado das pessoas educadas, entre aspas. Às vezes eu quero falar não só assim, mas de uma forma mais geral. Às vezes isso pode ser a mesma coisa. Tipo, todo mundo fala meio que de forma parecida. Às vezes vai ter variação, umas diferenças, dependendo da comunidade, do grupo de pessoas, do tipo de pessoa que você for analisar. Mas aí deixa você escolher os tipos de pessoas que você quer imitar, usar como modelo. Que realmente vai... cada pessoa pode ter suas preferências. Mas eu acho que você pode pensar não só em certo e errado, mas sim nas variações que existem e o que você achar mais adequado, mais útil, mais interessante para o seu caso. Ou casos. Espero que tenha ajudado. Okay, let me answer one more question from the chat, and then I'll bring you up, Gabriel. Thanks for your patience. Okay, what's your actual process to improve your accent in general? For instance, when you began speaking Portuguese, did you just start with random words? Did you have a more elaborate approach? Ooh, so that's worthy of a much longer answer, but I don't want to keep Gabriel waiting here too long, so I'll give you the short version, which is not going to be perfect. And I'm trying to think if I have documented this somewhere. So I don't have a perfect, place to send you to understand my approach, but there's some imperfect stuff you could do. So you could go to 2saa.com/t is the short version of this, or you can see the link below this. It's simpleamericanaccent.com/training or training.simpleamericanaccent.com. Doesn't matter at all. It takes you to the same place. It'll redirect you. But the point is, I'm making this sort of accent training space / app, whatever you want to call it. And I have a version just for my clients, but I also have this free version here that is public, and that's the one I'm sending you to right now. So if you go there, it'll send you to the exercises page first, which is a video I made walking through some accent exercises you can do. So that is one way to answer your question without it being necessarily one perfect methodology. It's more of tools in the toolbox. Here's a couple, exercises that will help you improve your accent. So you could use that, and that will be helpful. But in general, speaking a little more generally now, I would think of it as figure out who you want to sound like. It doesn't have to be a forever decision. You can always change your mind. It doesn't have to be just one person or one accent, but go just get any audio of anyone you want to try to imitate and then actually try to sound like them. That's the simple but not easy answer. So get audio and then try to sound like that audio. Try to sound like that person. And be an actor, be a spy, be a child. Don't just limit yourself to the kind of normal adult way of doing things where we're normally kind of
stuck in our normal patterns. We don't want to sound silly or dumb or weird. We're scared to push the limits. Allow yourself to have like a blank slate. Pretend you're a baby again, a child, a spy, an actor, whatever you need to do. Use your imagination, play, allow yourself to sound silly, to try new sounds, to change your voice, none of this has to be permanent. None of this has to be serious, but allow yourself to experiment. And so get some random audio from some random thing. You can do a podcast, you can do a random YouTube video, you can do, again, whatever you want. I'll just show you an example. I'll pick kind of a random YouTube video. I'll do it in Portuguese, you can do it in English, you can search whatever you want. It can be a podcast, can be, I guess I'm kind of repeating myself. I'll just click on this one. If there's something offensive, sorry, who knows what it's going to be. I like parts of this one. I'm just going to imitate like the first phrase. All right.
7867.
So I already noticed his T in seti instead of sete. He said seti, which I've seen him before, this actor. I think he's somewhere from the northeast of Brazil, which I think matches that accent, the way he talked there.
7867. 7867. 7867.
So the first layer is just the words set, oito, meia, set, which I would normally think of as like sete, meia, oito, sete. And that's where the accent piece comes in. Is it's not just about saying the words, it's about trying to match the exact sounds. And not just what you expected them to say, but what do they actually say? So I could like slow it down and then try to copy the exact sounds. Because again, the thing I just said, I'm now showing you how to actually do it, is like get audio of someone speaking, and then don't just say the words, try to actually match exactly how they sounded. Seti. So it's like, how open was the vowel? Was it seti, seti, sati, sati? Try to match that perfectly. Notice the type of T. Is it set, chi, ti, ti? What type of T is it? Did he say seti oito? Did he say set oito? Did he say... Those are the things I'm noticing. And then I can come back and also look at like the rhythm and the melody, kind of the musicality of it. Anyways, I'm not going to do the whole process because it would take too long. I don't want to bring Gabriel on here and whoever else wants to join in a minute. But that's kind of the entrance point. Go get audio and try to match it exactly. And then everything else is about how to do that better and better and better. How to break it down into skills and vowels, consonants, understand the theory, the where to put your tongue, all that stuff. But the core of it is be a parrot and try to copy exactly and allow yourself the emotional flexibility to actually really try, honestly. And allow yourself to sound silly, to exaggerate it, to do too much, to play, to push the limits, experiment. And yeah, have fun with it. All right, Gabriel, you ready? I'm going to invite you on here and I can help you out.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, 1 second. Zoom is muted.
Really, 1 second.
1 second. Where'd my Zoom go?
It says you're muted, I think. Wait. No?
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah. I can hear you now.
Cool. It's tough because I have
how's it going?
OBS/YouTube, and then I also have Zoom, and it has kind of separate controls, so I just forgot to unmute. My bad. Hi, how's it going?
That's fine. I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Have you been on here before?
No, this is my first time.
This is your first time. Cool. I want to say I helped someone else named Gabriel in one of the recent weeks, so just checking. Awesome. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
So, are you Brazilian? Would you say you already speak English pretty well? It sounds like it to me. Are you looking to get an American accent or closer to it, or what are your goals? How are things going? Let's start there to make sure I'm not,
All right.
that I'm actually helping you in the way that you want to be helped.
All right. That's great. Yeah, I'm Brazilian. I've been speaking English for a couple of years now. And yeah, I just want to sound more like an American, I guess, because I actually talk to Americans almost on a weekly basis because I play video games with them.
Nice. What do you play?
Currently Deadlock. I've been on that.
What is it called?
Deadlock.
I don't know what that is. It's a Valve game.
Yeah, it's a new Valve. Yeah.
Nice. I'll have to look it up. Maybe you can drop it in the chat, either on Zoom or in the YouTube Live. Either way.
Just dropped it.
Deadlock. Oh, how did you
so-
say it again? Say it. The name.
Dadlock.
Okay, you're opening the vowel, so it sounds like you're saying dad, like pie, instead of dead, like mortu. So instead of da, I do dead.
Dadlock.
Close. And we may not get it perfect right now, but at least I can point you in the right direction to start being curious about the difference. So you're moving in the right direction. So dad versus dead. The target is dead. Dead.
Dead.
That's better. Do you feel a difference compared to how you would normally say it?
Yeah. I feel like I have to put more effort into it, though. I feel like that's been my entire thing with. I feel like I can speak better if I actually put more effort and speak slowly or something. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just being lazy most of the time.
No, I don't think of it as lazy. It's just, it takes effort, especially at the beginning. Let me show you a graphic. Are you still in the live, or did you leave the live just to know what you can see and what you can't
it
see?
Open, but I'm
You have it open.
I'm
Awesome.
listening to- yeah.
And do you hear like a weird echo, or is it okay? Because sometimes if people leave the live
No,
open,
it's
they'll hear like double audio. But as long as you're good, we're good. Okay,
I have
cool. So
YouTube muted, but
perfect. So
Awesome.
so I'll show it. I don't need to share my screen on Zoom then. I'll just show everyone on the live together in a simple way, kind of. So this is something I show people a lot that is relevant to what you're just saying.
It's all about
Yeah. So it's kind of like you're in green. You can do it when you pay attention. So competence, you're able to do the thing, and conscious meaning when you focus on it. And then maybe we're trying to get up to blue, but it's hard to get to blue, where you're still able to do it, but you don't have to pay attention, where you can do it even, sort of unconsciously on autopilot. Does that sound about right?
I guess that's where we all want to get, right?
Yeah, ideally. And maybe we never get there 100% of the time, but it's like, how can we kind of move up this pyramid more and more, and ideally get more and more into the blue. So, remind me, what was the word we were just doing? It was a deadlock, and you were talking about you can do it if you focus on it. Yeah, so it's normal to take more effort at the beginning, and then we're kind of like rewiring how you do the sound, right? And we want to kind of babysit it through these stages.
Right.
And but then as you're establishing the sound and getting more consistent on saying them differently, because we kind of just started that. You may have been aware of it already, but like we would need more repetition and paying attention to quality and like catching it when it slips. So if you accidentally say dad lock again, like being able to notice that you said dad instead of dead, it may take some practice, may take some work.
Yeah, there's a big difference between the two.
You can hear it?
very noticeable. Yeah.
Awesome.
When you say it, at least. But
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah.
Um,
I don't know if my mic is loud enough.
it could be a little bit louder if you're able to control it. Yeah, I would bump it up a little.
Yeah. Is this better? I can.
Still sounds the same to me.
How about this? Is this better?
It's a little bit louder. Maybe it clipped a little. Say something again.
Hello, testing.
Yeah, I think that's fine. If it clips, I can tell you, and
Alright.
we can drop the volume a little. But I think that'll be better.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
So,
deadlock.
I can help you in different ways. But yeah, you're starting to. I gave you the tip on deadlock and kind of the tip of this, the pyramid as a mental model. But so the context you're kind of giving is, I assume, are you in Brazil?
Yeah.
And you play video games and you talk with Americans because of the video games, and you do like voice chat.
Yeah. So it's
Awesome.
just Discord, and so whenever we play, we get to talk. It's not like on a daily
That's great. I've met
basis,
people who
but-
sound almost like an American just because of that. Like, I'm kind of oversimplifying when I say
Yeah.
just because of that, but like some Brazilians who've never even left Brazil are like super good at English and even potentially sound pretty much American, partly just because they've like spent so much time talking with Americans through video games.
Yeah, I know.
So
right?
that's great.
Well, I learned English basically. I was taught, but it's weird because I was taught by a British person, so I don't have their accent, but they taught me English, so I'm thankful for that. I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
So how can I help you? One of the things I do a lot would be just have you talk for a minute and
we can either like read a text, or I can have you just tell me about something, and then I can either interrupt you if we're reading a text every time you say something that's a little bit different from how I would say it, or if you're kind of improvising, I can record you and then give you feedback after you talk for like 30 seconds. Do you have a preference? It doesn't really matter either way.
No, really. I can do whatever you think is easier for you.
Okay, yeah, let's have you, I'll record you
Okay.
and have you talk for like 20-30 seconds, and then I'll give you some feedback on the recording. So maybe just tell me, do you have a topic you can talk about for 20 or 30 seconds? Maybe tell us, it doesn't really matter what you say, I'm just going to pay attention to how you say it, like the accent part. So I don't know, you could talk more about like the Deadlock video game, or like literally anything you want.
Yeah, sure. I can talk about Dialogue. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
have
do
you ever
that, and I'm
recorded
going to
before?
mute my mic while you do that, so I can record. What was your question? Go ahead.
Have you ever played any MOBA or anything like that? Do you
Mobile
actually
games?
play any video games? Yeah.
I play video
MOBA.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do play video games. Mobile video games, not so much. Not very much.
No,
but...
MOBA. Like it's a.
Oh, MOBA. Is that like League of Legends, or which one is that? MOBA.
Yeah, it's basically League of Legends is a type of MOBA.
Okay, then I'm familiar with League of Legends. I played that for a while, like many years ago. So it's that style of game.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well.
Kind of.
It's that style, but it's
Okay, this is perfect. So let me record this as you say whatever you're about to say. I'm going to go on mute and just
Alright.
talk and tell me whatever you want to, tell me about what it really is, Go for it. Just talk, and I'll cut you off after maybe 20 or 30 seconds.
Okay. So, Dialogue is basically a 6v6. I don't know. You said you've played League of Legends before. It's like that, where you have to build your items. You have to push the wave and so on. And your objective is to basically destroy the enemy throne. So when you do that, you win, right? That's basically the gist of it. And then you obviously have your items, you have your level, and that's what you got to do in the game. Basically, it's basically League of Legends, but it's on FPS, I guess. That's the
Nice.
best I can.
Awesome. Yeah, we got some stuff to work with. So there was one thing I wasn't sure what you said. We'll look at that in a second. And then the word throne, you did a TH instead of a R.
Right.
Or sorry, a TH.
Yeah, I noticed
sorry,
that immediately,
I said
but I said it.
you said a T sound instead of a TH is what I meant to say.
Yeah, throne instead of
Yeah.
throne.
Yeah, instead of throne, throne.
Wait, yeah, I said throne. I said throne.
Yeah, you got it. Let me bring up Notepad, and I'll kind of put Audacity and the Notepad side by side.
It's crazy they
All
use
right.
Audacity for this.
I love Audacity, yeah. So there's other stuff we can use too, but yeah, Audacity is free and it's super useful, and it's not terribly
Is that a heat
complicated.
map?
Say again?
Is that a heat map?
Kind of. So this is a spectrogram, which is kind of like a heat map for frequencies of sounds. So over time, it
I've
goes,
seen people
left to
use that
right.
for-
It's great for
like-
speech. You can learn to kind of read it. Like you can kind of
well,
learn
not
like,
for
oh,
speech, but I think people they see pictures inside of those for like decoding stuff.
amazing. Yeah, you could totally do that. I haven't looked
Yeah,
too
it's-
much at that, but absolutely you could do that. You could write, your name here with frequencies or whatever. And you could like hide it, to some extent.
Right.
That's awesome. So throne was one of those things. Let me forget how to snap to one of these. We'll do it like this. Okay, so make this just a tiny bit smaller. Okay.
Dialogue is basically
Can you hear yourself okay?
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Dialogue.
Checking your versus ah.
That
You still kind of open it, which is okay because it's a new thing. It takes practice, right? But I'd say you still kind of went kind of in between and ah, and it kind of floated more towards ah.
that
Da, da.
that
Whereas I would do da.
that
Do you hear the difference?
Dialogue.
So we can say deadlock. I'll call this, with clients, I might call it dress versus trap. But basically what that means is like versus, we could call it bed versus bad, actually. That's probably an easier way to think of it. And what I mean in this kind of code, the way I'm writing it, is the first one is the target, what we want to do. And the second one is kind of how you messed it up, so to speak. And also, even though I'm saying like messed it up and that kind of thing, you can say it however you want. And some Americans might say it kind of how you said it. I'm not saying this just to like, but just to be like technically correct. I'm helping you to speak basically like I do, or arguably a so-called general American accent, but there's lots of variation. You know, there are Americans who say it kind of similar to how you said it.
Really?
So, yeah. Not the end of the world, not a huge deal. It's kind of preference. But I'll default to teaching you how I speak.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for a bit.
Awesome. So yeah, this is kind of my code, and that applies to this vowel sound and this syllable. All right, let's keep going.
Dialogue is basically a 6v6. Is basically a 6. Basically a 6v6.
So 6v6, we could adjust. I actually don't know how to write 6v6. I'll write it like this, even though I know that would not be technically correct. But I think just like kind of phonetically-ish, you know, that'll make it clear what I'm writing. So here it is what I would call kit versus fleece in the 2 6 words. So it's kind of like saying 6 versus seeks. And so you accidentally kind of did almost like I do português, mas deve soar mais tipo E fechado de português. Você, six. It's not exactly that, but if you do that sound, E fechado, and 6, it'll get you like 95% of the way there.
6.
More like that, yeah. Instead of seeks or six. Does that make sense?
6. Okay. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. All of this stuff is hard.
Okay.
It's not automatic, or you would already be doing it. So we're changing from your autopilot. We're kind of like opening the hood of the car and like, you know, adjusting things, and then trying to get it to run again. You know, it takes practice. So
6.
normalize
Okay.
the difficulty. Yeah, 6. That sounded great. Now try it in a sentence, or try it in the same chunk. 6v6. Yeah,
6v6.
Uh-huh.
6v6.
Yeah, and this is an interesting combination because in 6, both of these are the E sound, kind of like E fechado or kit. But then in V, we get kind of tipo I de português, tipo a palavra fleece em inglês. And so you have this contrast. So it's E, I, E.
All right, so you gotta go back and forth between
Yep. So
All
it's a good challenge.
6v6. Okay.
Yeah, it'll take practice. You won't master it, you know, instantly, right? But the more you practice it,
Right.
and it's not just repetitions, because obviously repetition is important, but it's repetitions with a focus on quality. Because if you just blindly repeat stuff, you might just keep saying it the wrong way or the old way over and over and over, and then you're just reinforcing that habit. So you want to make sure as you are repeating it that you try to do it in the new way and try to catch it if it slips. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So like if I was you, like how I practice things in Portuguese, and what you could do for this is for any of the stuff we talk about now or ever, and same for everyone here on the live, any difference you learn, start putting it into real life, you know, phrases, simulated situations, like talk to yourself like a crazy person, so to speak, you know, go for a walk outside, or when you're in the shower or in the car, just talk to yourself and use the stuff you're learning and put it, you know, use your imagination, be like a kid, like an actor, and just like imagine random situations. Like if you're at the restaurant and someone says this, how would you respond? And then you use the word 6. Like the bill is 6, you know, $60.06 or whatever, you know, and you just practice saying it, like, you know, watch your 6 or whatever. You just make up random phrases, and then if you accidentally like watch your seeks, you want to notice you slipped and try to catch that so that you can adjust it.
Right. Yeah, that's perfect.
Awesome.
6 v6. All right.
Yeah, and there your second
Sometimes I just
6
repeat
slipped
it.
a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes I just repeat the same thing over and over and over again.
And that can be good, but you have to have that feedback loop. You have to have attention to quality so that you
Yeah.
catch it if it slips. So you want to be mindfully, you want to pay attention to the quality of how you're doing it and very like deliberately, intentionally doing it, not just like rushing and doing as many repetitions as possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, yeah, for sure. I'm usually high rated in the games I play, so I'm a big advocate for like coaching people because
Awesome.
and coaching them live. So
In video games, in Deadlock specifically, or
yeah. So yeah,
Nice.
so I think it's the most helpful thing you can do is coach people live because you just see the improvement like immediately. It's kind
that's awesome. Yeah, it's a quick feedback loop.
Yeah.
And also, you can sometimes coach yourself. Like I've seen some like video game pros and stuff, or like sports pros. Sometimes part of what happens when someone is coached or is kind of coaching themselves is you watch replays, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right.
So we can apply that to accent too. So you can have a coach like me or anyone, but you can also coach yourself to some meaningful extent by recording yourself and then listen to the recording. And sometimes as soon as you hear the recording, you'll be like, oh man, how did I mess that up? It's sometimes obvious, some of the stuff. But then a coach might be able to help you notice stuff that isn't as obvious to you.
There's stuff I caught. Well, there's words that can. The second I say them, I already know they're wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you have the same thing when you're speaking in Portuguese, where you say like any word, and the second you say it, you already know it's wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know.
It happens. I'm just trying to interact with people here in the chat too. Someone else is hoping to join next. I'm saying sure. Say who else wants to
Wait, what? You never said what you used to play. Wait, you say you play League of Legends, right? What?
Yeah, I'm
curious.
not like super deep, at like a high level in any video game, but I used to be very good at Guitar Hero. A lot of my accent practice
hell
has
yeah.
to do with Guitar Hero 2's practice mode, where I
Wait,
went really deep.
Oh, okay.
Because
That-
let's
Guitar
imagine you're
Hero 2 was
practicing.
Actually,
I loved it.
the one I played the most. That and
Do you-
Aerosmith.
Do you remember the practice mode from it? I don't know if you did practice
Yeah.
mode or not.
Yeah.
I obsessed over it. So the way I explain it to people is like, and I did the same for practicing real musical instruments too, because I played some musical instruments also. Like I started playing guitar because of Guitar Hero, well, actually. But I brought the same mentality of how to practice stuff to musical instruments and to accent,
Making it
and
out? Yeah.
it's all kind of the same. So it's like, instead of practicing, imagine this is a song, like what we're looking at here. And it's like, okay, the song starts here, and imagine it's like 3 minutes long. And imagine that this part is the hard part. Or this part, let's say this part, towards the end of the song is the hard part. So it's like, this is easy, you can beat it, but then every time you play the song, you fail here. So what some people do is they just keep playing it over and over and over, and they just keep failing here. And it takes like 2 minutes to get to the part where you fail, and it's super frustrating. And then maybe eventually you get lucky, and you barely survive. You don't fail on the hard part, and then you finish the song, and yay, I beat it, and you move on. That's kind of like the way I see it, is like the amateur way to do it. To me, the pro way to do it is, let's isolate the hard part, let's zoom in on it, and let's practice it like crazy. Let's break it down. Let's do it at slower speeds,
Yeah, absolutely.
and practice like crazy till we can 100% that part consistently. And then we speed it up and practice it again till you can do it consistently, and speed it up and speed it up and speed it up. And then you try it with a little bit of the previous section, and you do like the intro transition into it, and then maybe you add the outro. And then your chance of being able to do it in the actual song is so much higher, because you actually like learned the skills you need. You didn't run away from it, you ran into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's how I think about
you
it.
gotta be way too disciplined to do something like this. I don't have nearly as much discipline as you, but I try.
I don't know if it's discipline. It's
I think it is.
Maybe not, because sometimes it's a little more like an addiction or something, like potentially in a healthy way, depending on how you view it, but potentially not always in a healthy way. But it's like when I don't know if you've ever
play a song really badly.
Yeah, you get pulled forward partly because of the goal and partly because of the process. If you get into a good flow where you can feel yourself making progress, that's very different from just like struggling and feeling like you're making no progress and being frustrated.
Yeah, that's where I get motivated.
So sometimes like video games or coding, like there are certain areas where I think it happens a little more naturally that we can get into this kind of like feedback loop where we're like, yeah, I got like the next thing, and now I got the next little thing. And we're like, sometimes in real life, it's like you're climbing this huge mountain, and every step is just like, man, the mountain is so far away, and it's like, it's hard to motivate ourselves, and there isn't like a structure like in a video game that's like giving us milestones and achievements and like feedback the whole way. It's just like the mountain and us and nothing else. And so I feel like accent and a lot of skills in life are kind of just the mountain and us and nothing else. And so it's up to us to build the structure, the mini game, the achievements, the like all the little. So instead of climbing the mountain all the way and just looking all the way at the top, instead it's like you play these games like I'm gonna get to that tree. Yay, I got to the tree. Okay, now I'm gonna get to the cabin. Yay, I got to the cabin. You know,
there's a meme where it says me when I'm not instantly good at video games. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like me when I'm not top 100 instantly.
Yeah. Exactly. It can be a grind, and it's not always fun. It's not always satisfying. Like ideally, like there's lots of moments where it is satisfying and kind of like addictive and you're like feeling progress. But then sometimes it is kind of a grind, and it's like kind of learning to, I don't know, still find some sort of satisfaction in being obsessive and deliberate, and I don't know, but as much as possible, I think it's nice when it's like a puzzle and you have a sense of progress and you're like breaking the mountain down into pieces, and you're like, okay, I need this big skill, so I'm going to break it down into these tiny skills, and I'm going to identify what's the most important tiny skill that's holding me back. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on that tiny skill and practice it like crazy. I'm going to design a way to practice it more efficiently, and I'm going to drill it. And then when I go back to the big skill, I'm going to be so much better because I found the constraint, the bottleneck, like the thing that was limiting me. And instead of running away from it or hoping it magically fixes itself, I identified it and designed a way to train it and obsessively practiced it. Just like if someone struggles, like earlier on, someone in the comments said they struggle with TH plus R in words like through, or you did it in the word thrown just a minute ago. Same idea. Like that's going to be a recurring challenge in all words that have TH plus R or potentially R plus TH, like either way, those transitions. But if you set it as like a mini game, a sub skill that you kind of like attack intelligently, deliberately, and then you put it into different words and stuff. And it doesn't have to be super crazy intense. It can be, but just like if you just say like, I'm going to figure that out as a goal, like a mini game, then all those words across the dictionary for the rest of your life that have that will be easier because you'll have that sub skill trained better.
I do wonder, is saying words like thrown, does it take more effort to you? Like saying words with the TH, does it take more effort for an American to say, like, let's say you say thrown and then you say thrown, like the way I said before? Does it take more effort to say it correctly, or is it just I don't know. Does that make sense? Yeah,
it does make sense. I don't know would be the first answer. I can tell you my guess, but it's kind of achismo, like based on me just feeling it in the moment. Right. But yeah, we could compare it, for example, to, because Trone, I mean, there's the name Tyrone, but I don't think Trone is a word. So I can compare it in kind of a vacuum and just see how it feels. But if I haven't said Trone in my life, it's not an apples to apples comparison. So let's try something where there are two words. So we could do three versus tree. It's a common thing Brazilians struggle with. And I actually kind of changed the T to a CH when it's before an R. So I basically say tree, technically anyway. So it's like three and tree.
But I don't know. They're both super common. I don't really think about the effort. It comes very naturally. If there is a difference in effort, it's not something I've thought about consciously at any point that I can remember. Three. There are three things. There are tree things. If there's a difference in effort, it's very small and not a big deal to me. Like, it doesn't affect me. Like,
I guess anything you
Yeah.
don't have to think about, it's probably gonna just be effortless for you, right?
yeah, it's pretty much effortless. And so maybe that becomes kind of the goals. Like right now it takes extra conscious effort for you to do it. And then, but the more you practice it,
Yeah.
eventually it can be more and more on autopilot. Maybe it's never totally effortless, but you can definitely improve it a ton.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, the thing you mentioned, 3 and 3, that's definitely something I have to like focus up to.
Yeah, you're not alone. It's really common. A lot of Brazilians struggle with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Is this helpful? Just checking in. I'll probably go to the
yeah.
next person here in a minute, but maybe I'll do
No, that's
another couple words for you or something. But yeah, just to check in, is this making sense? Do you have any questions you want to ask before we move on? Anything else on your mind? I can still do like a little bit more from the audio here, but just kind of moving towards the end of your turn here pretty soon.
Yeah, let's keep going to the audio, and then I'll work on those. That
Yeah, perfect.
sounds perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Happy to help. All right. So let's see what else we got.
V6. I don't know. You said you've played League of Legends before. I don't know. You said you've played League of. You said you've played League of Legends before. League of Legends before. Legends before. Legends before. Legend. Legend. Legend.
La, la,
Legend.
la. Let me see.
Like- like-
La,
like-
la, la,
like-
la,
like-
la,
like-
la. I'm trying to figure out. I'm not sure how to describe it exactly, but I think your vowel sound in Legends is a little bit different than mine. But it's subtle. It's not the end of the world. So this is one of those things where it depends on where we want to focus our energies. So it's kind of like uma triage, right? So this is not a huge deal. But if we fix other easy stuff, this is like a polishing thing to maybe make it sound even more natural or American or whatever you want to call it, potentially. I think it's a little bit different than how I would do
League
it.
of Legends before.
Maybe you're opening it more, maybe it's more forward. I'm not sure exactly. I'd have to think about it more. Legends. So it's the same as in Deadlock.
Lodge.
It's this dress target. So dead,
Oh, so I'm making
ledge.
the same mistake.
Kind of, except I don't know if you went exactly to trap. I don't think you went all.
Like.
It might be moving in that
okay.
direction. It's just not. This one in Deadlock, it was very clear. It sounded basically like dad to me, whereas ledge doesn't sound like ladge to me. It didn't sound like it went that far, but maybe it moved like partway toward it.
Legend.
Yeah, ledge instead of le.
Legend. League of Legend.
Yeah, that's closer. I think. Do you feel a difference? It's
I
kind of
think so.
subtle. Okay. Yeah, this
It
one,
is subtle.
not the end of the world. It's kind of subtle, but we're at least putting some breadcrumbs
Maybe it's not-
down that you can keep exploring.
Maybe it's not worth focusing on that one for now.
Yeah, this
And there's-
one, yeah, you could question it. But this is a common challenge, and there's a chance that Legends is the same thing. It's just in the audio, it was like a slightly more minor version of it. But yeah, question mark thing to
I guess
consider.
if I fix the dress and trap thing,
Yeah, even there you kind of did
More natural.
dress instead of dress.
dress.
So yeah, your dress vowel, that target. So just to show you, if we
Dress.
go to back to here, let's say we do. There's different ways to Google this, but if you do like lexical sets, dress, ebook, and then you go here, there's this free ebook someone made. I did not make it. The person who made it is very smart, accent coach, professor, etc. And it's a free resource they made. And
Oh, I
it's
think a friend sent me that before actually.
awesome. Yeah, I linked to it in some of my resources for clients and non-clients, and
So you can read through this if you want. Some of it's kind of more technical. You don't have to read through all of it or understand all of it. But if you do nothing else, you can just jump down and see some of the word lists for examples. And also they have some phrases you can practice as well.
So what would you call this issue? Like, if you're gonna help somebody else with the same issue as me, what is this problem called? You know, like, 'cause
Yeah, you could call it
up in the document. I saw like plosives, something like that.
plosives. Oh, so that is that's just about the consonants. So P, B, like which type of sound is coming after it. So, but dress is a vowel. Plosives are types of consonants. Affricates, nasals, fricatives. These are, he just sorted consonants into categories. And then he's sorting it by the consonant that comes after the eh sound. So like V is the eh sound followed by a V, like in never, level, etc. So that's just the way he sorted this word list. But so what I would call this is, and it's not that it's wrong, because again, accents vary. But if you're trying to say it like me, I would argue that the target is somewhere in vowel space, wherever you want to draw it. You can kind of make a map of possible vowels, and you are lowering it further than I do. You're doing a more open sound than what I do. So you're doing sort of a dress lowering compared to what I do. It's like a lower, more open sound. Or you could argue that the distinction between dress and trap, so dress is the one we're talking about, and trap is the more open sound, ah. So it's like bed versus bad. You could argue that you're sort of like collapsing that distinction. Like you're kind of like gringos struggle with pon versus pow, and they kind of say them the same.
Right.
You're kind of doing that with dress and trap. They're kind of becoming too similar. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, perfectly, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, maybe we can wrap it up there, so we can bring some other people on before it gets too late in the evening here. Anything else you want to ask before we move on to the next person?
No, I don't want to take more of your time. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, happy to help. And if you ever want more help, either come back to these lives, or if you want to consider becoming a private client, that's a thing. There's, if you check the link in my bio or the link in the description here on YouTube, link in bio on Instagram, there's info.
Delete the lives, or do you keep it on YouTube?
I don't know what I'll do long term, but as of right now, the replays will be there and you can rewatch it.
Okay, perfect. So I'll just download it and practice.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, thank you.
Yep, and as of right now, I don't plan to delete them. But yeah, if you want to download it and save your own copy, you can. But I plan to leave it up as of right now.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good
one. Yeah, you too. Happy to help. Take care. All right, and then Anna, go ahead and join. The link is up above, but I can copy and paste it again because it's probably further up in the chat now. But if you can find it, and go ahead and join. Otherwise, let me find it as well. I can repost it. Yeah, so Anna, go ahead and join there at that link in the Zoom. Oh, Delio Hector, I'm just seeing your comment now. And Gabriel, if you're listening, that's a great point. This person, Delio Hector, is saying, I'm hearing League of Legends as opposed to League of Legends. I'll listen to it in the audio here, but before I even listen, I will say that's very likely. It's very common. A lot of Brazilians say off instead of. And so part of it is the versus ah sound. So I aim for in the word of, not ah. And then the other part is the F versus V. So in the word of, we write it with the letter F, but we actually say it with the letter or the sound V. So instead of off, it's of. So let's hear how it was said. And then Anna, I see you in the waiting room, so I'll admit you in just one sec, but let me here double check the League of Legends pronunciation.
You said you've played League of Legends before? League of Legends? League of
Let me see if you said it earlier.
Dialogue is basically a 6v6.
Or after.
I don't know. You said you've played League of Legends before?
It's hard to hear. I might hear a little off, but it's so quick, it's hard to hear in this one. We'd need more examples to be sure.
Like that? where you have to build your items, you have to push the wave and so on.
Oh, and by the way, Gabriel, that was the part I didn't understand.
Push the wave and
That part.
push the wave and
And maybe you can leave in the chat on YouTube what you actually said, like something about items, and then you have to
push the wave and so on.
push. What's after push?
Push the wave and so on. And
Push the wave. So instead of wev, wave. So like the vowel sound in the word face. Wave.
push the wave and
And instead of posh, push. So the same vowel sound as in good, could, should, foot, cook. It's this sound. Push, push.
push the wave and
So instead of posh, the web or wev, push the wave. And there's a thing with the th there too. Kind of sound like a D instead of a th, but the biggest issues there are the two vowels. So the in push and the a in wave. Push the wave. Awesome. All right, so Anna, if you're ready, I'm going to admit you into the Zoom here. Yeah, happy to help, Gabriel. Then Anna, you're muted. There you go, unmuted. Say something, see if I
Hello.
can hear you. Hello, how's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome, hi.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, happy to help. So, yeah, I'd like to start with kind of asking, are you Brazilian? Are you looking to get an American accent? Are you looking for something else? Any goal is fine. I focus on American accent, but I always want to check in because you don't have to. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'm Brazilian, and I've been studying English for a while now. A few years ago, this was the type of content I was looking for, and I couldn't find it. So I started taking online classes with online website with native teachers.
Which one?
Cambly.
Nice. Yeah, I recommend
Yeah.
Cambly sometimes.
So I was working for a company from California, and I really wanted to sound more American. And although I could talk to native teachers on Cambly, they wouldn't understand when I aimed to speak not better English, but English with an American accent.
What would they say? Would they say
it
don't do it, or what was their reaction? Yeah.
Usually they would say, "Oh, your English is fine. I can understand you. I can understand everything you're saying, and you don't need it." And I was like, "I know, I don't need it, but it would really help me." And unfortunately, and not so much. I don't work for that company anymore. I now work for public service in Brazil, and but I really love English, and I still want to improve it. I think it's really great, and to be always practicing, I joined a reading club in English, and
Reading, like reading books?
yeah, reading
Nice.
books. Yeah, and they made a post on Instagram after the class when they recorded the class, and I was like, "Oh my God, I speak like that." I was like, I wasn't satisfied with the English I was hearing, and I've always been trying to improve, but I'm also very demanding on myself. I don't know if it makes sense. I hope it does.
It does. Yeah, you're doing great, and that makes total sense.
Okay. So that's the thing here. I'd like to improve. I know I don't need to, but I would really like to.
Yeah, that's how I see it. So I recorded you as you were talking, and we can use that
Exactly.
to give you some feedback. Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, awesome. I know, like you said, sometimes it's kind of painful when we hear a recording of ourselves,
Yeah,
but it's so valuable, right? Even if emotionally sometimes it's a little bit challenging, technically it's really
Yes.
valuable. So you can actually hear how you sound in a more, somewhat more objective way. Obviously, it's influenced by our emotions and things, but when it's recorded, yeah, you can hear yourself differently than when you're just speaking live in various ways, and it's really useful to notice patterns you're not aware of.
yeah. I think when I get excited, like very thrilled, happy, it tends to get worse.
Yeah, that's normal. And so in some ways I agree with some of the English teachers and stuff and what you said at the end as far as like you don't have to do it. I agree. But I add on, you don't have to, but you can if you want to, right? And so if someone tells me they want to sound like a native, like I want to focus more on the second part than the first part. Like, yeah, you don't have to. You probably already know that, most likely. If not, you know, it's probably good to note that. But then let's help you move towards your goals. And if you want to sound like a native, I say amazing. And yeah, some people will try to like convince you not to do that. But I think if you enjoy that, if that gives you energy, then amazing. That's how I am. Every language I learn, I want to sound like a native. Even if I may not ever get there, I'm still trying. That's what I have as my goal. And
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, I
Cool.
agree.
You know, it could be simple. It doesn't have to be, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
Awesome. All right. So let me point out some of the things I heard. I'm actually going to start by writing some things down here. So well, maybe I can redistribute these a little bit. And we can start to see some patterns in how you speak. Okay, so it, with, company, and understand. Is it okay if I give you a lot of feedback?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Here to help, not to judge, just to help. Still, it, books, they, post, I'll make this a little smaller, post that, satisfied, been, demanding. So I'm going to start with some of these that have something in common. So these are kind of in chronological order, like the order you said them in.
Okay.
So a lot of these are going to have the same issue, which I call kit versus fleece, which is basically you want to aim for doing it kind of with is this big enough, by the way? Can you still read it at this size?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool.
I can read it.
So I'm going to write this same thing for several different words because it's the same mistake or same accent thing repeated in many different words. And so if you learn this one thing, it will be helpful for you. And it's often the first thing I start with a lot of clients. You're not alone, so don't worry about it. But
Is it called minimal pairs?
you can use minimal pairs to work on this, but the specific contrast, it's a type of contrast that you can then train with minimal pairs. So yeah, you can use, actually I just did a post on Instagram for this contrast. Let me see if I'm logged into Instagram or not. Hey, I'm live. That's funny. So if you go to my recent posts, it'll be this one. And if you open it, sick, seek, eat,
Okay.
eat, lit. This is the core difference that I'm going to show you applied to your audio now. So before I started recording, you said the word this, but instead of this with a I sound, which is the target, you did more of a this. So you want to aim for this. Can you say that? This?
This.
Perfect. Perfect. And
Yeah.
same thing for this word. Can you say it in the new way?
Sorry, I think there's a lag. Do you mean it?
Yeah,
It.
you got it. And let me reset my audio just in case there's an issue. 1 second. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, there might be a lag. That's okay if there is. But yeah, you said it perfectly. It. Great job. Same thing in this word. Instead of with.
With.
Yeah. And then there's also, I think you did an F instead of a TH. So that's an extra kind of bonus issue on this one.
Okay. With.
And if you don't know the difference, it's which thing are you touching your upper teeth with. So TH is you touch
With.
your tongue
With.
to your upper teeth, and F is you touch your lower lip to your teeth. So you want to touch your tongue, not your lip, to your upper teeth. With. It's not the end of the world, but if you're wanting to sound like me, this is another contrast to practice. Try to say it again. Let me listen.
With.
Yeah, I think you got it. Does that feel different from how you normally say it?
Yeah, I think I feel like that triangle you showed Gabriel.
Yeah. I know which
You know,
one.
when
Let
I
me-
stop to think, I can say words.
Yeah, it slips. You require conscious attention. You have to focus on it to do it. But then when
Yeah.
you're speaking in improvised sentences, your attention can't be on everything at once, right? So it often slips as you're speaking.
Yeah.
And that's normal. That's okay. You're on the journey, just keep practicing.
Okay.
Yeah. But we can get more out of this, the same issue. Do you have any guesses as you read through this? Do you see any other words that you think might have the same issue?
Still,
Yep.
maybe.
Yep. And also it, again, on the same line. That's why I put both of them.
Yeah.
And I think just one more that I noted would have that on this list. Any guess what it is? It might be surprising.
Satisfied.
That's a good guess because it has an I in it, but it's actually the word bin.
Ben. Oh.
Yeah, so you said bean, and I would say bin.
Oh.
Bin.
Oh. Ben.
Yeah, most people are surprised by that one.
Ben. Okay.
Yep. And it's not wrong to say bean. Again, it's variation. Like I think some Canadians and British people, it depends on the accent. Like you'll hear bean, but I say bin. A lot of Americans say bin. So that's what I would recommend. And then the way you practice any of this stuff, you may have heard me say this, but we'll try it live now real quick, is just start using it in sentences and imaginary situations. Start kind of simulating the real life conversations you want to have and try to do it in the new way instead of the old way. So like just real quick, they don't have to be amazing sentences or whatever, but just say been in a couple of random phrases. Like I've been to Italy, I've been to Brazil, I've never been to Vietnam,
Okay.
I've been working on it, whatever. And if you say been by accident, try to notice it and catch it and adjust it. Try to do a
Okay.
couple random, simple phrases real quick with the new version.
Okay.
Can you try to do it
Oh.
live?
Oh, okay. So, I've never been abroad.
Good.
I have been to some
Perfect.
other states in Brazil.
Good.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Can you imagine continuing to practice that outside of this call in that way?
Yes, it makes total sense.
Awesome.
It even reminded me of a song that says,
Good.
"Where have you been? Where have
Yeah.
you been?"
Connecting it to
Where
music
have
is
you
a
been?
really good way to do it. That'll help it stick in your memory.
Really, it helps me a lot.
Amazing. Does this make sense? Do you see how this is a really common sound? And if all you do is adjust this, it'll make a difference?
Yes.
Awesome. Because you can be, depending on the moment, you can be gentle with yourself or you can be tough on yourself. I know you said you're demanding, so you can do whatever is useful for you in each moment. But this is like, you're doing great and you can always do better if you want, right? So if you want to push yourself, amazing. But yeah, you know what's best for you. But if all you do is this one thing, it will make a difference. So that's what I usually do with a lot of new clients is instead of trying to solve everything at once, because that can be overwhelming, just take some of these words for this kit versus fleece, or even just one word, like just bin, and just over the next week, just be more aware of that word when you say it and when you hear it, and try to say it in the new way instead of the old way. And if you can start seeing that actually shift in your real life conversations, then you're kind of proving to yourself that the process works. And then you can start expanding it to more words and more sounds. But like, take a baby step first and kind of build your confidence that, oh, this actually works. I see how the process, works. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think I've done that with a word you taught on Instagram a while ago. Category.
Yeah, you said it well.
Yeah, it would be a very difficult word to me to pronounce. I probably would pronounce it wrong.
A lot of Brazilians say category.
Yeah, probably I would say like that. And then when I saw the video, I was like, oh, I said that wrong. And then I started to practice it alone. And I think I'm doing a little better now.
Yeah, amazing. Also, we can add little to the list. Little versus little.
Little.
Yeah. Good. You got it.
Little.
If all you did was just for the next weeks, however long you want, really, a long time, a short time, whatever feels right to you, just start getting curious about this difference in English. And often a clue will be, it's often going to be the letter I. Not always, like bin is different and there's some exceptions and stuff, but the letter I is often a clue that a lot of Brazilians will see the letter I and do an E sound, weeth, eat, but it's often going to be a E, kind of like e fechado instead. So you can kind of start like double checking whenever there's a letter I in English, just kind of install a pattern in your brain of like question that and see maybe it's E. Not always, because there's words like pizza and police. English is crazy, right? There's a big mix of different letters and sounds all connected in crazy ways.
I know it is.
But this is a pretty strong, like you will get a lot of value out of just being curious, questioning these words that you've been saying for years, that you might be doing E instead of I. And just starting to recategorize those and start building the habit to say them in the new way. That will start shifting your accent across all those words. Just changing that pronunciation. Pronunciation is a piece of accent. It is a meaningful piece.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll be doing that.
You're welcome. And yeah, there's these other words, but honestly, I wouldn't even worry about it for now, because I could show you that, but I'd rather you just start with one thing, because that's already plenty, right? that'll keep you busy for a while, and it will make a difference. And I'd rather you do one thing and do it well than me to give you a list of like 20 things and then kind of go crazy and not do anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can you just tell me one? What is books on the list? Like
yeah,
books?
I can tell you. Yeah, actually, so even though I said that, if you're curious about any of these, I'll kind of leave it up to you. I can tell you all of them or some of them if you just want to know. But I would still say keep the majority of your attention on just do one thing to start. Keep it simple. But yeah, so books is on the list because instead of books, I would say books. So u versus So I call that foot versus goose. And there's not really a good thing for that in Portuguese that I'm aware of to represent that, but we can kind of compare it. It's like a kind of more relaxed version of u, where we get this kind of sound. So it's the same thing as in good foot. We'll do it like this. Good foot, put, cook, should, could, would, etc. Look versus Luke, dude, new, to, you, etc. Like we can make a big list for both of these, but like so all these have the sound. Good instead of good. Good. Oh, a classic. Let me show. I forgot we could show just to show this in multiple ways. We could also think of this as look versus Luke. Look, Luke. Hey, Luke. Look at that. Do you hear the difference? Or is it hard to hear?
It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's normal for it to be hard, but you can, if you can hear it, even if it's hard to hear, you're starting to hear something, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Exactly.
So just stay curious about that. I'll show you an exercise you could do to explore that a bit in a informal way. And this is one of the exercises I mentioned. If you go to training.simpleamericanaccent.com, it'll take you here. And the first exercise I mentioned in this video about accent exercises is what I'm about to show you now. So you can watch it here if you want, and I'll teach it there.
Yeah.
But I'll show you the quick version now live. But that is side-by-side comparison or contrastive listening. It's a fancier word, which basically means, let's open, we already have Youglish open, so I'll use this one. And we're gonna duplicate it, so we have two of them. And I'll put them side by side. One there, and I'm gonna put, now you mentioned minimal pairs, right? So you've heard of that.
Yes. Yeah.
So we want to use a minimal pair. Look versus Luke is a minimal pair for foot versus goose. And so now we're going to search those. And then what you do is you just go back and forth and listen to some random videos, and you'll learn how to use this pretty quick. But like when you click this, it'll, oops, and I have it at a really slow speed. So let's go back to normal speed on both of them. And you're just going to go back and forth kind of randomly. This one. So it's like, look, Luke, look, and just kind of feeding your brain the raw information and helping your brain start to hear the difference better and better. And you can even pause the video right before they say look, and then pause the video right before they say Luke, and then you hit play on this one and then this one, and your brain will hear them like back to back. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense.
So you learn to hear the difference better by just listening to lots of natives doing it, different people, different moments, different contexts. And then you can also start trying to imitate it out loud. So let me just kind of demonstrate that.
So when we look at,
in my recent work with my colleague Luke.
So and now I'll restart it and I'll pause it right before they say.
In my recent work with my colleague Luke Pitak.
Oops.
Pitak, who's at Belmont University. In my recent work with my colleague.
There we go.
why it is. So when we
Okay, so now I'm going to play both of them, and you should hear the vowels like side by side.
look,
That one's kind of quiet, but did you hear
Toy
it?
sword.
Yes, it was perfect.
And do you see the idea? That's the more important thing, is the process. Do you see how you
Yes.
could do this on your own?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I'm gonna do this.
Awesome. Yeah, happy to help. And yeah, it's arroz com feijão bem feito. It's simple but
Yeah.
not easy. But this is the core materials. This is like isolating the difference so you have a better chance of hearing it. Because if you just kind of listen to random sentences, then the sounds are all mixed together and then you don't know when they're going to happen. And then you hear the word look and then you hear the word Luke like 3 minutes later. And it's like hard for your brain to compare them. So what we're doing here is side by side comparison where we get rid of all the distractions and you can just like compare them right next to each other back
Yeah.
and forth.
Yeah. It will make it easier to see the difference.
Exactly. Exactly. And then you can do this for any other sound. So again, we start with one sound to keep it simple and not overwhelming and to prove that it works and for you to start to learn how to do it and to prove to yourself, because I already know it works, but it's about you. Like, do you actually believe it deep down? Like, do you have proof that you can do it, not just someone else? So it's like, it's about you proving it to yourself, regardless of me or anyone else, what they say. It's about your independent journey with accent. And so if you do this and you actually start to get sort of a return on your investment of time, then it will naturally make sense for you to be like, you might like naturally want to do more without even having to like force yourself to do it. Cause you're like, oh yeah, duh, this worked. I should do more. Like this is fun or this worked or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, try it. Let me know if it helps. I believe it will help you if you do it. And if you have issues, let me know. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Do you have any other
Yeah.
questions for me? anything else on your mind you want
No.
to comment on or ask? Here to help if there's anything else on your mind.
No, I just want to say thank you so much, and I really like studying English. And these tips, they were great,
Awesome.
and I'm gonna definitely try this, and I hope to improve.
Amazing. And here we can add another one to the same category. Tips. Instead of teeps, tips. Tips. Uh-huh. Make sense?
Okay.
Good, perfect.
Yeah.
So if we want, and you can watch the replay of this on YouTube, but I'll even, to make this even higher density, if you want to like take a screenshot of, let me move books out of the way.
Yes.
If you want to take a screenshot, here's a little mini word list for you to practice your sound with. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
And then if you go to that Instagram video I mentioned, you've got a couple minimal pairs. Sick. Seek. Each of these you could put into Youglish and do the exercise we just talked about. Or, you don't have to do it with all of them, but any of them you could do side by side. And there are, most of them are pretty common words, so you'll find a lot of videos of native speakers saying each of these, and then you can compare the sound.
Okay. These ones are very difficult to me.
And that's normal. Part of so a tip that helps people sometimes is you'll see that there's a letter I in the ones on the left, and there's a letter E in the ones on the right. And so if you read it like you would using Portuguese, you'll end up
Yeah.
saying it the wrong way because it's sort of the opposite
Yeah.
of how it appears.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the trick is, again, there's exceptions. English is crazy. But specifically for these minimal pairs, like this type of pattern, there's a bunch of words. We could extend this list. There's more. It's often the opposite of what you would expect, and you need to swap it. You need to switch it. And so when you see the I, think of it as e fechado, do português, and do that sound. So like você, você. Copy paste the e from você and put it into the word. So você, it. Você, live. Does that make sense?
Yes. If
And then-
if I stop
Oh,
and
go ahead.
think, it's kind of easy. But if I'm talking and I'm like thrilled, it's difficult.
Yeah, and that's where people get stuck a lot. You have to build a bridge from where you are now to where you want to go. And so what's in the
Yeah,
middle
right.
of the bridge is you need to practice it not just in words by itself, but you need to put it into phrases, improvised phrases, simulated situations. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, perfect sense. I have to stop like around 10 seconds to think what I'm gonna say when I want to say that I love going to the beach.
Yeah. It's always scary. Like, oh, which one?
Yeah. I freeze.
Yep. So this is kind of the sequence. We could combine word and phrase and improvised phrases if you want, but it's like build a bridge from, if you say the word by itself, that's easier. So first of all, make sure you can do that, because if you can't, you need to train that. But as soon as you can say the word by itself and say it both ways, like across the contrast, as soon as you can say it and eat pretty consistently, now try to start putting them in phrases or improvised phrases. I guess we could even do it like this if we want to kind of simplify the model a little bit. And now there's 3 steps instead of 4, but either way, same idea. You could think of it however you prefer, but it's like, okay, I can say it versus eat. Amazing. Check. Okay, so now let me put it in phrases like I need to work on it, and then I'm going to eat at this restaurant, and I'm going to eat it. You can even say them back to back. Eat it. It eats a lot. It eats a lot when it's hungry, and then it eats it. The sentences can be kind of silly or whatever. The point is to practice not just the word by itself, but in connected speech, more realistic, flows where you're doing a bunch of stuff. And now your brain is no longer just focusing on the one thing. Your brain is going to be distracted by saying a bunch of things. And so it's a little bit more realistic. And then you can distract your brain even more and make it even more like real life by simulated and potentially real. I guess we could add in real wherever you want. But it's like, imagine you're at a restaurant and you sit down and you're like, or imagine you're a waitress at a restaurant, and you could even like literally in the space, like in your house or whatever, like pretend you're a waitress and you walk up to a table and imagine someone's there and you're like, hello, what would you like to eat today? Hello, what would you like to eat? And then you try it, and it's like, I don't know, think of some phrase, like someone's like, how much is the quesadilla? And then you're like, oh, I think it's about $5 or $10 or whatever the price is. I think it's, and if you're like, I think eats, you want to catch that and be like, instead of, okay, thinky, no, think it, I think it's. And so maybe you can do it in one context. So then once you practice think it, so you're like, cool, think it, I got that, think it's. But then as soon as you switch the word think to a different word, it might break the habit because now it's a different combination of words. So if instead of think, if you're like
Believe.
Yeah, sure. Amazing. I believe it's. So maybe you're like thinky. Oh wait, think it. Okay, cool. Got think it's. But then you're like, I believe ye. Oh wait, believe ye. No, not believe ye. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Awesome. So that's what I would do if I was you, is start practicing with some of these words or the ones in the Instagram post, and put them in some sentences, some imaginary situations. See if, I think you mentioned maybe you don't speak English as much with Americans nowadays, but like as much as you can, or get on Cambly or whatever, like whatever situations you can have in real life, whether with Americans or non-Americans, like whenever you're speaking English, even speaking by yourself, again, simulated, whatever, just speak English and try to say it in the new way instead of the old way. And try to monitor yourself so that you know if you're doing it, and you can kind of give yourself a little score over time of like noticing when you mess it up and noticing when you do it in the new way, and seeing if you are doing it in the new way more and more often over time. Just like turning on accent mode in the back of your brain so you can pay attention to that more and more often.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Happy to help.
Really, really helpful. And I'm gonna be trying on these tips. I'm gonna try to practice those words that typed on the notepad, and also the Instagram words.
Awesome. Sounds good. Cool. Anything else before we go? And I think I'll wrap up the live. I think you're the last person I'll have on today. But yeah, anything else? Good to go? Okay. It was great to have you on. Let me know if you need more help. Let me know how things are going. Any progress, if you want to share, feel free to send me a message, or if you have some challenges with it, let me know, and maybe I can give you a quick tip or two to try to unblock you. And here to help more if I can. If you want to become a client, it's not always a good fit for everyone, but there's the option, the link in my bio on Insta for you and everyone here on the live as well. You can check that out. But client or not, hopefully my free stuff will help as well. And I'm rooting for you.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, happy to help. All right, have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, kind of cut off your word bye, sorry. But yeah, great to have you on. And all right, folks, yeah, I'm wrapping up. I guess I'll show you, it's kind of the call to action here. Happy to help all you guys. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know what you thought, either in the comments, or send me a direct message on Instagram. Let me know if this is helpful, if you have any ideas of things to make it even more awesome. And then as a quick call to action, beyond that, if you do potentially want to become a client, you can go to the link in my bio on Instagram, which will take you to simpleamericanaccent.com/coaching. And you can see the real simple offer, not some crazy huge sales page or anything, because of the price and stuff. It's not a good fit for everyone, but maybe it's a good fit for you. No big deal. Hopefully my free stuff helps either way, but if it is a good fit, there's the price. It's a weekly Zoom plus WhatsApp. Sometimes maybe we do twice a week. Sometimes we do skip a week, miss some call. It's a little bit informal, flexible, but like the default, typically what works is roughly a weekly Zoom. Then you have access to my WhatsApp for help outside of that. And if you want to see how sessions work, you can click here. There's a little 5-minute video I made you can watch that explains what to expect.
If you're Brazilian and you want an American accent, here's what it's like if you become a one-on-one accent.
And you can jump through the video. You can put it at 2x speed if you want to watch it in 2.5 minutes instead of 5. And so yeah, accent analysis, learn to hear and say things. Basically the process you saw today, but I kind of walk you through it. So when I get a client, I analyze your accent as a first step, like you can see here using my custom software. And we figure out what are some of the biggest patterns that are happening in your accent. And so we figure out where to focus our efforts. And then as we start working together, we focus on, can you hear the difference? We pick a contrast, kind of like today, talking about kit versus fleece, sick versus seek. Can you hear the difference? And can you say the difference? So we start to establish that contrast and build your skills in simple conditions, like just single words by themselves, or just the sound by itself without even the rest of the word. And then we start putting it into words or more words, putting those words into phrases, potentially written phrases, potentially improvised phrases, putting them into simulated situations, simulate the situations you care about, whether that's, maybe you're going to give a TED talk or public speaking or a meeting at work, or you're going to do interviews, or you're making content on YouTube, or whatever it is you're doing, or just talking to friends. Whatever it is, the situations you care about, we can simulate those and practice so that when you need to do the real thing, you'll be better prepared. And then we work on integrating that so it becomes more and more a part of you and actually shows up in real life. And so that hopefully you can get more and more into the kind of top blue part of that pyramid where, we put in all this effort so that at the end of the day, eventually, hopefully, it doesn't take as much effort, but it takes a lot of effort to get to where it seems effortless. So there's no magic, pill, magic instant solution. It takes work. But that's kind of the holy grail, the thing, the North Star, whatever the right metaphor is, or whatever the right idea. That's where we're aiming. It's for this to become a part of you where it feels more and more natural. So yeah, check that video out if you want to see some more details about how it works. You can see some testimonials here from people in tech, from people not in tech. So whether you're in tech or I've helped, I enjoy helping people in tech. At one point I considered specializing just in that, but I love helping people who aren't in tech as well. But as you could tell, I'm nerdy and like coding and engineering and all that stuff. And also, if you want free accent stuff, you can click this link down here at the bottom. And that takes you to what you saw me using a bit today. So there's some resources here that I'm collecting and building over time. And here on the left in the sidebar, you can see some more stuff. So here's some of the resources I've made, links to where you are right now, this and future weekly live accent coaching on YouTube. There's also you can search some of my reels. So if you want to see like the word 3, you can click here and it'll take you to a reel I've made about that. So instead of waiting for me to publish it again or scrolling through tons of reels, you can jump right to it. So I'm trying to make stuff to make things, helpful for you, whether you're a client or not. I want to help as much as I can. There's also made a little quick PDF with 10 of, some of the most common issues I see, even with Brazilians who are doing really well in English. It's arroz com feijão bem feito. It's these basic pronunciation contrasts that often create a big part of the accent. And so you want to make sure you've really mastered these. And then again, there's links to some reels that either demonstrate or explain these key contrasts. So the first page is vowel contrasts, and the second page is consonant contrasts. And again, you can go through these on your own, or if you want me to directly just help you go through them, that's what I do with my clients, but up to you. I'm trying to show you the path either way. There's a quick little phrase breakdown example so you can see, like, this is what I see in my mind as I'm helping you and other people, is we can kind of break a phrase down into pieces, and then we can look at how to adjust each piece to get it to sound more like an American. And we can use things you already know sometimes we need to learn new things. And then sometimes we learn one thing and we kind of copy paste it to multiple things. So like I was helping this last person with, E versus E. We want to aim for this E, kind of like E fechado, and then we can apply that to it is, and again, it is. So in this phrase, it is what it is. It shows up 4 times. And then there's some other stuff over here. You can see some core vowel sounds with some examples for each. You can send it to ChatGPT to make some practice phrases. It'll make an automatic prompt here. Loading, and then we just hit go. And you have infinite practice phrases. You can just do that as much as you want. And it'll link to the ebook here for the one I showed that I did not make, but someone awesome made. And I link directly to the part of the ebook that you need for that sound. It'll mention the contrast, if there's a common contrast. So kit versus fleece, bit, beat, some minimal pairs, sit, seat. Again, some reels that are relevant, vowels and consonants. Work in progress, hopefully it's useful. There's the accent exercises I mentioned earlier. You can jump around in the video to see different ones, tools in the toolbox. A little explanation of these kind of weird code words you might have heard me using, kit versus fleece. A bit of the history where those came from and the logic of why they're useful. If you want to explore that. A little vowel synthesizer. And some resources that I did not make, third-party external resources all collected in one place. You've heard me talk about some of these you may not be familiar with, so it might be worth taking a quick look. And then yeah, when you're ready, if you're ready, you can potentially become a client. And whether that's jumping straight to the ongoing coaching, or if you want a smaller step, well, first of all, you could message me here, send me a message on WhatsApp if you have some questions, if you're on the fence and you just need a little bit of clarity about something, or if you want to start with a smaller step, there's this option number 2 here, which is to do the first step of the ongoing coaching, but pulled out as its own thing with a satisfaction guarantee to remove a lot of the risk. So if you're thinking about becoming a client, but you're just not sure and you don't want to commit to a whole month and $1,000 as your first step, then you can pay, instead of $1,000, start with $300, $297. And if for any reason you feel like it wasn't worth it, you just let me know within a day of our first call that we do, because it's a accent analysis plus 1 call. So after that accent analysis call, just let me know within 24 hours if for any reason it wasn't, if you're not happy with it, and I'll refund your money. But generally people are happy with it, and even by itself, it is valuable. So you don't have to become a client. There's not like some big, high pressure sales thing. It's basically like, if you want to become a client, we can talk about it. If not, it's okay. And like, I let you decide. But if you do want to become a client, then we apply that $297 towards your first month of coaching. So you pay $297 to start with this. And if you want to continue into the one-on-one coaching, which is $1,000 for the first month, then we apply the $297. So you would just pay the remaining $703 to start in the ongoing coaching after that. And so, yeah, again, you can read through here to see a little bit about the offer and testimonial here. Anyways, I'm here to help if I can. I'm trying to make this easier for you to say yes to, whether that's saying yes to yourself and just actually putting in the effort on this on your own, do it yourself with the resources I'm providing, or if you want some more help and if it's, financially okay for you and not gonna mean you're not able to eat or something crazy, if this stuff is affordable, even if it's a bit of an investment, whatever your situation is, if it makes sense and you're able to invest, then I can invest more back into you and we can go deeper in some private coaching to whatever depth makes sense to you. But either way, I'm rooting for you and here to help. Any questions, either send me a WhatsApp with the links on the sales pages or DM me on Instagram and I'll try to get you moving in the right direction. All right, have a good night. Hopefully this is helpful. Tamo junto and see you later.